doing today? Well, baby, if you are Sean Diddy Combs, the government is having their saying and baby saying, you know what? You missed your expert deadlines, but we got our experts lined up. And guess what? They're saying this ain't no he said, she said. We have an expert in sex trafficking and you are about to go down. Y'all, Diddy is actually shaking in his boots, and as he should. If you guys don't know, I did a video earlier, but let me just pick this up. The government has filed a 2-page response along with Diddy's counsel on what the status of the trial is. As much as Diddy's team has been fighting tooth and nail to have that trial on May the 5th, which got moved to May 12th. And as much as Anthony Rico was like, yo, you're not ready for trial, I'm leaving. And as much as Mark Agnifilio said, we 100% are ready for trial, guess what? They're not. They're having trouble hiring experts, a pharmacological expert. What's the whole thing with a pharmacological expert? Well, baby, it is in mentally impaired expert for mental impairment while under the influence, but also if you're taking any drugs that can suppress your immune or viral load. I talked about that in another video. Let's talk about this other stuff, okay? Maybe the expert witness strategy, the government is laying a trap for Diddy, which they all walked into. Okay, I took some notes, I broke it all down, but get this. The government met its expert deadline on time with no drama. Their expert is specifically focused on sex trafficking, which means they're preparing to educate the jury on mechanics of grooming, coercion, and control. This kind of expert doesn't just testify on definitions. They break down patterns of abuse over time, okay? So they're basically going to be like, this is what traffickers do. Here's the checklist. Now, I'm going to show you why what Sean Diddy Combs did not only track, but mimic other noticeable traffickers, baby. They're not just saying this time that Diddy did something wrong. They're going to line up a whole playbook to show how he moved from predator step by step. This is destroying Mark Agnifilio's whole defense that these were just two consenting adults and it looked like she liked it. Idiot. Anyway, I'm sorry. Yana, these were two consenting adults and it looked like she liked it. Idiot. Anyway, right? A pharmacological expert. Again, we talk about that in another video, but I'll go over it really quick. Is it a Hail Mary or a deflection? The defense is scrambling to bring in a pharmacological expert late in the game. Now, they already asked for time to find one. The judge said, go ahead. They could not find one. However, that's not true. Diddy has the money to spend. They could not find one to say what they needed to say. This opens it up to wild speculation. Are they going to argue that the victims were under the influence? And are not credible, basically saying, well, you said you was high, so how you know it was me? It could have been, right? It could have been whoever, right? Or are they going to claim that Diddy was also taking something that impaired his judgment? We got high together. I didn't know, right? Or worse, are they trying to cover up medical exposure like viral transmission, like I discussed in the other video? Okay, so Diddy's team, now that they're reaching for the what's in the medicine cabinet, right? Again, is that really a strategy or is it panic in a pill bottle? Anyway, right? Let's talk about timing and deadlines, the tactical moves. The government is calm. They're being methodical, right? And they are complying to all the deadlines that Diddy's team were the ones that demanded, literally. Meanwhile, Diddy is missing dates left and right and asking for extensions left and right. This shows who is controlling the tempo, but it also shows who's ready for trial and who isn't. Diddy thought by speeding this up, and I think he thought because Mark Agnifilio told him by speeding things up, the government wouldn't get their case together and we can move. And let me tell you something, there was some truth in that, in the fact that the government's case is not as expansive as they wanted to have. However, the key components, forced labor, sex trafficking, all this stuff, baby, they got him dead to rights. Diddy, they could have gotten you with 100 charges. Let's just say they only got 50. That 50 is enough to put you and half the people you love in jail for the rest of y'all lives. So Mark Agnifilio's thing worked, but it didn't work. You see what I'm saying? Anyway, let's get back into this. The government has even preemptively asked the judge for permission to amend their expert list to crush any rebuttal if needed. Again, it's a big thing that Diddy can't find the right experts. That means that you need an expert that's going to be very creative, but very convincing, and you can't find one that's willing to stake their professional integrity that will support the viewpoint you want brought into court. Baby, this is not luring. This is warfare. And right now, Diddy's lawyers, baby, they are DOA in the water. Now, get into this victim pseudonyms. Now, they're saying this is tactical protection. The government wants some victims to testify anonymously, a standard move in trafficking cases. It's a standard move. And that's how Diddy is messed up. I don't know if Mark Agnafilier didn't know, or maybe Diddy, I mean, it's a hopeless case or whatever. This allows witnesses to speak freely and without fear. Now, of course, Diddy's objecting to the pseudonyms, okay? Obviously, I think it's because they want to intimidate or discredit the witnesses. You know how it is. They throw a name out into the ether spirit, and all of the Diddy paid agenda bots will be in the comments trying to disparage them. Again, this is why Diddy is sitting in jail now, because of witness intimidation and coercion, okay? But many people are saying it is 100% going to backfire, because the jurors are going to ask, why does Diddy need these names so badly? What is he trying to suppress? Who is he trying to suppress? You know the dates. Because here's the thing, do you really need to know their actual government name? If somebody comes up to you and they're like, yeah, Tisa had me on August 29th, 2024. I feared for my life. We did this, we did that, we ran, and oh my God, I barely escaped. Okay? If I have the date, the time, and what is being accused of, do I need to know who this person's government name is? Or is it enough because I didn't do anything to say, honestly, on August 29th, y'all know where I was, eating ice cream, minding my business, doing my thing. Do you see what I'm saying? It becomes a lot easier to prove the case because you have all the things. The fact of the matter is, what's your defense? No, I didn't do that to Mary, but I did that to Sarah. Why would you actually need these names? Okay. Again, when the defense is fighting to name the women instead of clearing Diddy's name, baby, what are you going to say? The truth hurts. Anyway, there's also behind the scenes logistics of a massive scope. The government is preparing for extensive redactions, witness protection, voir dire adjustments, and potential pretrial conferences. That tells us this case is what? Big, sensitive, and also super legally complex. They're not just prepping for trial, okay? This is what Diddy's worst nightmare, what he feared. This is a federally coordinated takedown campaign. But baby, is it really takedown if they're telling the truth? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I do know one thing about the victims' pseudonyms, right? I think that to me is one of the most damning things, at the fact that with those pseudonyms, why do you still need their names? You have everything you need to do to mount the defense. It either happened or it didn't happen. You either were there or you were not there. And because you have a whole team of people that always travel with you, it should be pretty easy to prove whether or not it happens. Okay. If the government, and just keep in mind, this is the last thing I'm going to say, if the government is asking for pseudonyms, that means this is serious. This is standard in sex trafficking, abuse, and violent crime cases. It's not about hiding the truth. It's about protecting the people who are brave enough to speak. And when the federal government acts to let victims testify under fake names, it's because they expect real risk, public backlash, intimidation, safety threats, and retaliation. Y'all, listen. Again, why is Diddy objecting to this? Why do you need for their real names to be out there when they are testifying on behalf of the government? Again, the mess he does in civil trials is not working in the government trials. But hell, Blackburn and Wigdorf's cases are still moving forward. So baby, it ain't working anywhere. Anyway, y'all, let me know what you think in the comments. I'll talk to y'all later. Thoughts and prayers to Diddy. He took his last bite of freedom when he was outside of that hotel before he got yoked up. I know he's so mad. Anyway, y'all, let me know what you think in the comments. I'll talk to y'all later.